How to Flavor Moonshine by J.B. Wagonmaker. Moonshine Life Recipes Group. Some people love taking either fruit-infused moonshine or honey moonshine. This will give you direction on how to flavor moonshine using extracts. It takes time and effort to learn how to make the best flavored moonshine, but it's worth the effort. Since moonshine is a malt-based liquor, it's a good idea to start by finding a high-quality extract that matches the flavors you'd like to add. Extracts are easy to find at Amazon and eBay. Once you've found your desired flavor, follow these 3 easy steps. Add ingredients to the moonshine and stir thoroughly. Allow the mixture to sit for at least 12 hours so all of the flavors have time to mix thoroughly together. Taste test before bottling. If necessary, add more of an ingredient or change the proportions of ingredients as needed. What are some other ways to dress up moonshine? There are many other ways that one can go about flavoring their moonshine. Try infusing it with fruit, lemon, oranges, grapefruit, etc., or herbs, cinnamon sticks, cloves. Use simple syrups, brown sugar syrup, maple syrup, honey-flavored syrup. Add food coloring for variations in color. Add powdered cinnamon or nutmeg for additional spice. Pour over a frozen beverage such as lemonade for a refreshing new concoction. How to flavor moonshine with vanilla bean. To flavor moonshine with vanilla beans, you need 2 to 3 high-quality vanilla bean stalks for 12 to 14 ounces of moonshine. Cut 2 or 3 high-quality vanilla beanstalk into pieces and add them to the jar. Fill up the jar with 12 to 14 ounces of moonshine. Shake well. Stopper and store in a cool, dark place for at least 2 weeks. The vanilla beans will infuse over time and the flavor of the moonshine will be mellowed out. The best part is that you can reuse the vanilla beans for up to 3 times before they start to lose their flavor. How to flavor moonshine with orange peel. Flavoring moonshine is an art. It takes a few weeks to master, but once you do, the rest of the process will seem like a walk in the park. Here are 3 easy steps for flavoring moonshine with orange peel. Cut 2 pieces of orange peel and add them to your jar. Fill up your jar with 12 to 14 ounces of moonshine, shake well, and stopper it up to store for 4 to 6 weeks. When you're ready to filter and let it cool for 3 to 4 hours or until it's fully cooled. Once it's ready, filter through a coffee filter, cheesecloth, or any other material that will catch large particles like pulp. To flavor moonshine and keep it clear, you can use a muslin or tea towel to filter it. When you're ready to filter and let it cool for 3 to 4 hours or until it's fully cooled. Once it's ready, filter through a coffee filter, cheesecloth, or any other material that will catch large particles like pulp. To flavor moonshine and keep it clear, you can use a muslin or tea towel to filter it. You can also opt for a coffee filter which works more slowly. This will give you a flavor that makes your moonshine excellent for consumption. How to flavor moonshine with cinnamon and allspice. Add a 1/4 cup cinnamon or 4 cinnamon sticks and allspice to the jar. Fill up the jar with 12 to 14 ounces moonshine, shake well, stopper, and store for 4 to 6 weeks, filter, and serve. The recipe above enables you to enjoy infused moonshine and control the taste. The moonshine comes out a bit spicier to the point of bringing the heat when it hits your throat. If you want additional zing, you can also adding whole cloves. These give you a numbing sensation in your mouth if too many cloves are added. You can enjoy the moonshine with cinnamon and allspice flavor as shots, gift it to a fireball lover, or mix it into cocktails. How to flavor moonshine with coffee beans. First, measure out your ingredients. 8 ounces of moonshine. 4 ounces of chocolate syrup mix. A quarter cup of coffee beans. Flavoring process. Add a quarter cup of coffee beans to the jar. If you're looking to make a coffee-flavored liquor, you should start with coffee beans. Add a quarter cup of coffee beans to the jar and fill it up with moonshine and real chocolate syrup. Fill up the jar with 8 ounces moonshine and 4 ounces real chocolate syrup mix. Shake well, stopper and store for 4 to 6 weeks. At Hopsters, we cover the mixture on your jars with their lids. Ensure also that you shake the moonshine well once a week. Filter and strain through a coffee filter. Filter and strain through a coffee filter so that your moonshine is as clear as can be. This recipe will give you a strong flavor that's sure to please any customer who loves their morning cup of joe. The first step in flavoring moonshine is to find a flavor you enjoy. The next step is to taste the moonshine. You may want to start with a recipe that's already been tried and true by other brewers, which will make it easier for you to get started on your new brand of liquor without a hitch. If you have an idea for a new flavor of moonshine, there's no need to spend hours researching how to do it. Just follow these easy steps. How to flavor moonshine with butterscotch. Moonshine with butterscotch offers you the best of both worlds in terms of tastes. It is equals a sweetly flavored moonshine. You can follow the following steps to flavor your moonshine with butterscotch. Ingredients: 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar, 1 cup moonshine, half a cup brandy, 1 teaspoon butterscotch extract. Flavoring process. If you want to flavor moonshine with butterscotch, you'll need a pot, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 cup of water. To flavor your moonshine with butterscotch, start by heating 1 cup sugar and 1 cup water in a pot for 30 minutes, and don't burn it. You can use clean pot on any heat source, including a hot plate or gas burner. Ensure you do not add any more sugar to the mixture. Then add 1 cup of high-quality moonshine, then add cooled sugar syrup, and add half a cup of brandy. The cooling process for the syrup takes around 30 minutes and yields a simple syrup. Thereafter add 1 teaspoon of butterscotch extract, shake, and store for 2 weeks. You can store it in your fridge for 2 weeks or then store it in a sealed container in the pantry. You should know that the favored moonshine is ready after you let it sit for 48 hours. However, the longer period gives you a unique deep taste. You may opt to add some food coloring, but it's not mandatory. The food color gives your drink a deeper brown shade instead of the lovely brown hue that you get when you use raw sugar for the syrup. Other flavors for moonshine. Moonshine is a beverage that's often flavored with ingredients like fruit, coffee, or cinnamon. The possibilities are endless. The best way to learn how to flavor moonshine is to experiment some more. Try different combinations until you find one you like. Different flavors will appeal to different taste buds. If you don't want to flavor your moonshine with fruit or other ingredients, it's also possible to get creative by using extracts or natural sugars for flavoring. You'll notice a lot of recipes use sugar as the primary flavoring agent, which is because sugar is cheap and readily available in most homes. How do you add flavor to moonshine? You can add sugar to your fruit puree or juice to the level of sweetness you want. Fruit, juice, or sugar can also be added to the fermenting mash. The first step in flavoring moonshine is to add sugar to your fruit puree or juice to the level of sweetness you want. Fruit, juice, or sugar can also be added to the fermenting mash. What is the best flavor for moonshine? There are a wide variety of flavors you can use to flavor moonshine. You can experiment with any flavor your heart desires. Some popular moonshine flavors include blackberry, dill pickle, peppermint, cherry, and apple pie. The best way to decide what flavor is right for you is to taste as many options as possible. Let's say you're interested in making a non-traditional moonshine recipe. One option would be a blackberry cobbler. To create this recipe, you'll need to get blackberries, cinnamon sticks, sugar, and cornstarch. You'll also need your moonshine. In a pot on the stovetop or electric skillet, combine equal parts of water and liquor with all other ingredients. Bring this mixture to a boil, then allow it to simmer for about 30 minutes until the sauce thickens. Remove from heat and let cool before adding it to your moonshine stills for distillation. This recipe makes great tasting blackberry cobbler moonshine that will impress any guest who takes a sip. Do extracts add flavor? Yes, you can take the flavor up a notch by adding an extract to match the flavor profile of whatever you're serving it on the rocks. For example, if you're mixing up a new batch of moonshine, you might want to add some vanilla extract to give it a sweeter and richer flavor. Take the flavor up a notch by adding an extract that matches the flavor profile of whatever you're serving on the rocks. For example, if you're mixing up a new batch of whiskey, you might want to add some vanilla extract for a sweeter and richer flavor. What is moonshine extract? Moonshine extract is the most popular way to add flavoring to moonshine. It's a mixture of sugar, water, and yeast. When mixed with your favorite alcohol, it creates a liquid that can be sweet or sour depending on how you flavor it. Moonshining is an art that has been practiced for centuries. In the U.S., moonshine is often thought of as a Southern tradition, but it was actually a craft that was practiced all over the country. However, it's a craft that always had to be done illegally because moonshine wasn't legal until recently. Moonshining is one of the most popular DIY hobbies out there today, and for good reason. It can be done with relative ease, and it doesn't require any fancy equipment. One thing you will need to do, though, is to find a recipe for your drink. Moonshine extract is simply a flavoring agent that can be added to moonshine recipes to give them an extra kick. Extracts are usually sold in small bottles or bags, and they're inexpensive, which means you don't have to break the bank trying to get started in this hobby. And if you ever want to try your hand at other liquors, like rum or whiskey, then you can just swap out the original moonshine extract flavorings for something new. Tips for making moonshine extract at home. Moonshine is a type of liquor that has been around for centuries. Moonshiners have been making the stuff since the early days of America, and it was often made illegally. Today, moonshine is still an important part of Southern culture and can be found in many parts of the country. Moonshine is made by fermenting sugar water or grains and then distilling it with strong grain alcohol like Everclear. It's a time-consuming process that requires patience as well as practice to master. There are a few ways to flavor moonshine without adding grains or sugars to the mix, but one way that stands out is using extracts. If you want to make moonshine extract at home, there are a few things you'll need. 1. You'll need a recipe for your moonshine. You can find many recipes online and in books. Alternatively, if you don't want to use a pre-made recipe, you can create your own using the ingredients of your choice. Experimenting with different ingredients is one of the best ways to develop new liquor recipes. You'll also need a still to create the alcohol from whatever raw materials you decide upon. Moonshiners usually use copper pots or kettles for their stills, but any deep pot will do the trick as long as it has a spigot on its bottom to draw off the alcohol mixture and steam it before bottling it up. Once you have all of your ingredients ready and assembled, it's time to start flavoring. To flavor moonshine, just add extracts or concentrated flavorings into the distilled alcohol mixture before bottling it up. You'll be able to experiment with whatever flavors strike your taste buds as well as experiment with different combinations of flavors that complement each other well. You'll love the results when they're done right. Flavored beer. How do you flavor distilled alcohol? The best way to add flavor is to use fresh fruits, whole spices, and herbs. The idea behind this method is to use the natural essences and the ingredients you're using to infuse your moonshine. It's also a great way to make your liquor unique because you can experiment with different flavors. If you're looking for a specific type of fruit or spice taste, then this is the way to go. You can also buy extracts from most liquor stores that will allow you to quickly add flavor without any prep work. Concentrated flavorings are a quick and easy way to get started if you don't have time or patience for experimenting. If it's your first time making moonshine, it would be wise to steer clear of extracts until you know what type of flavors you want in your final product. How long does it take to flavor moonshine? Moonshine is made from a base of corn, rye, or barley. You can use a variety of spices to flavor it, but this can take time. It all depends on the flavor you want and how much time you're willing to invest in your moonshine recipe. For example, cinnamon sticks take 6 months to flavor your liquor while cloves only need 3 months. On the other hand, butterscotch moonshine will be ready in 24 hours. Moonshining is an old craft that dates back to the early days of the United States. It's a wonderful hobby for those looking to explore their craft and make their own brand of liquor, but it can be. There are several ways to infuse flavors into moonshine. For a stronger flavor, infuse your moonshine for an additional 1 to 2 weeks. If you're looking for a lighter taste, simply add your extract or flavoring agent as you're making the moonshine. Most people will do this by adding it during distillation. If you want a more subtle flavor, add them at bottling time. If you want to avoid any messes and stick with simple recipes, buy distilled flavors online rather than scratch-made flavors. How to flavor moonshine before distilling. To add flavor to moonshine before distilling, add 5 teaspoons of caramelized raw or white sugar per liter of your spirit. You'll want to caramelize your sugar before adding it to the moonshine. This will give your liquor a smoother taste, and it will also remove some of the harsher flavors. To do this, heat the sugar in a pan with a 1/4 cup of water for about 10 minutes on medium heat. Stir constantly so that the sugar doesn't burn. How do you sweeten moonshine? The first step to flavoring moonshine is sweetening it. You can use any kind of sugar, but homemade syrup or caramelized raw or white sugar will give the best flavor. To make the syrup, simply add the desired amount of sugar to a saucepan with 1 cup of water and heat until the sugar has dissolved. Let it cool before using it in your liquor recipe. If you want your moonshine to taste like apple pie, add 5 teaspoons of caramelized raw or white sugar per liter of your spirit. For every liter of moonshine, add 5 teaspoons of caramelized raw or white sugar to create that sweet apple pie flavor. This will also remove any harsh flavors. Enjoy Moonshine Life Recipes. Cheers!